A giant walrus weighing more than 2,000 pounds thrashes against the icy sea. Its massive tusks gleam under the pale Arctic light, and each roar echoes like thunder across the frozen shore. The water churns with foam as hunters in small wooden boats inch closer, fragile specks of humanity facing a living giant. One wrong move could mean disaster. A single strike from the animal's tusks can shatter bone, and a sudden wave can capsize a vessel in seconds. Why would anyone risk everything against such a force of nature? What drives them to stand face to face with a beast born of ice and storm? This is not just a hunt. It is survival written on the endless white canvas of the Arctic, a story where danger and tradition collide, and where every choice can decide the line between life and death. The Arctic stretches endlessly, a frozen desert of white, where the wind cuts like blades. The air smells of salt and ice, sharp and metallic, burning the lungs with every breath. Waves crash against sheets of frozen water, slabs of ice rising like walls, then shattering with a thunderous crack. Temperatures here plunge well below zero, turning seawater into jagged glass that floats for miles. In this hostile stage, even the sound of silence feels heavy, broken only by the groan of shifting ice or the distant cry of seabirds circling above. For centuries, small indigenous communities have called this land home. Their houses stand low against the wind, built with bone stone and skins hardened by cold. There are no supermarkets, no electricity, no endless shelves of food. Survival depends on knowledge passed down through generations. Every tool, every net, every rope must be crafted by hand. Their wealth is not measured in coins, but in pounds of dried meat, gallons of oil, and the strength of family ties. Here, the balance between life and death is fragile. A single mistake can cost a life, yet skill and tradition keep the people alive. And it is within this harsh theater that the hunt for the giant walrus begins, a test of courage against the frozen world. Have you ever seen something like this before? Share your experience in the comments. Wooden boats and narrow motor canoes slide silently across the frozen sea. The hunters crouch low, their breaths clouding the air, their eyes fixed on the herd sprawled across drifting ice. The animals rest in clusters, massive bodies weighing up to 2,500 pounds, tusks glinting like ivory spears under the dim Arctic light. Each paddle stroke echoes in the stillness, every sound a risk of discovery. When the boats draw close, the tension sharpens. Rifles are raised, iron-tipped spears grip tight in calloused hands. A single shot rings out, cracking through the icy silence. The water erupts. A giant male thrashes violently, waves crashing against the fragile hulls. His tusks slash the air, powerful enough to rip open wood or overturn a canoe in seconds. Ropes fly, harpoons strike, and men heave against the beast's sheer weight. The smell of gunpowder mixes with salt and the raw musk of the animal. The battle is brutal, swift, and unforgiving. Each movement decides survival. The walrus bellows, blood staining the ice red, the sound carrying like a drum beat across the sea. Then with one final surge, the giant weakens. The boat steady. Silence returns, broken only by the labored breathing of men who know they have won this round against the frozen wilderness. From that violent moment, the real work begins, the butchering of a creature whose body will sustain the entire village through the long, merciless winter. The giant walrus lies still, its massive frame sprawled across the ice. Knives flash in the pale light, cutting through skin nearly 3 inches thick, tough as rubber. Each slice is heavy, deliberate, the sound of steel tearing flesh, echoing against the frozen silence. The first layer stripped away is the hide, dark and coarse, destined to become boat's boots and clothing strong enough to resist the Arctic wind. Beneath the skin lies the blubber, a thick blanket of fat weighing hundreds of pounds. Hunters carve it into blocks, each one stacked carefully, a future supply of oil for lamps or food reserves for the endless nights. The air fills with a pungent mix of blood, salt, and musk. Red meat, dense and fibrous, is cut into slabs. Some will be eaten fresh, its flavor strong and gamey. Others will be dried in the cold air or stored beneath snow nature's own freezer. Every pound is measured, every cut shared among families. Tusks, long and curved, are set aside. They will become tools, ornaments, or weapons, treasures carved from ivory. Bones are collected, large ones used for shelters, smaller ones shaped into needles. Even the sinew is dried and twisted into cords stronger than rope. Nothing is wasted. Every part of the animal carries purpose, each cut a lesson in survival, carved into the heart of the Arctic. From this brutal work emerges not just sustenance, but proof of human ingenuity in the face of relentless cold. Deep pits are carved into the ice, lined with stones and sealed with heavy layers of snow. Inside, slabs of meat rest in the natural cold, preserved for months until the next hunt. Women and children work alongside the men, cutting thick strips into smaller pieces, laying them across racks to dry in the Arctic air. The sound of knives against bone, the rustle of hides, and the whistle of wind mix into a rhythm of survival. When the division begins, the scene shifts from labor to ceremony. Each family gathers as portions are handed out, every household receiving its share. Fairness is absolute, no one left hungry, no one left forgotten. Children cheer when fathers return, their arms heavy with meat and fat. Fires crackle, kettles steam, and the rich smell of stew drifts through the village. In these moments, the cold feels less cruel. Survival becomes not only possible, but shared, a victory written in warmth and unity against the endless white. Every walrus taken from the sea is treated as a gift, never as mere prey. After each hunt, a ritual of gratitude follows. Men and women gather in the icy dusk, drums made from walrus hide pounding a deep rhythm. Songs echo across the frozen shore, ancient verses reminding the young that survival comes only through respect. The philosophy is simple yet profound. Hunt enough to endure the winter, but never so much that the herds fade. This balance between need and restraint has preserved both people and animals for centuries. Each tusk, each drop of oil carries not only material value, but also a spiritual weight. The glow of oil lamps, fueled by thick blocks of blubber, burns through the Arctic night. That golden light does more than warm the room, it connects generations, binding ancestors to children past to present. In this frozen world, food becomes memory and survival becomes tradition. The walrus is sustenance, but it is also story, symbol, and soul. From these rituals rises a culture built not on conquest, but on gratitude and endurance. Children stand at the edges of the ice, eyes wide, watching every movement. They see how knives slice through skin, how balance is kept on a rocking canoe, how meat is divided with fairness. Nothing is rushed. Each gesture is a lesson, each cut a fragment of knowledge that binds survival to memory. For young men, the first hunt marks a turning point. To step into a boat to feel the spray of freezing water, to face a beast weighing over 2,000 pounds, this is not just labor. It is a passage into adulthood, a test of courage and endurance. Success means pride, but also responsibility. Failure can mean hunger for the entire village. The elders guide these moments with stories carried on the wind. Around fires fueled by blubber, they recount hunts where storms swallowed boats, where courage turned fear into survival. Their voices, low and steady, remind the young that tradition is not optional, it is essential. Thus, every hunt is more than food on the table. It is a classroom carved into ice and snow, where survival skills become heritage. And the next generation learns that life itself depends on respect for both sea and beast. Against the vast Arctic, humans appear small, frail bodies braving a wilderness that dwarfs them. Yet within that fragility lies a will stronger than steel. Every drop of blubber rendered into oil, every strip of meat dried in the cold becomes more than sustenance. These are memories carved in flesh, echoes of ancestors preserved in tradition. At night, the golden flame of an oil lamp flickers inside a snow-covered home. Its glow pushes back the endless dark, linking the faces of children to the voices of elders. In that light, survival turns into heritage. The walrus, once a roaring beast on the ice, now lives on as both food and spirit, nourishing bodies while binding generations together. Such stories remind us of something timeless. Life here is not about conquering nature, but coexisting with it. To honor these traditions is to honor resilience itself and to cherish the fragile harmony between people and the sea. If this story moved you, subscribe now for more incredible journeys into the world's most extreme traditions. And tell us in the comments, what's the most impressive thing you've ever seen at the ocean? If you simply love this story, type ocean below to let us know.